What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including backstage heat on Becky Lynch as WWE are embarrassed. A former WWE star is furious and goes off. Did John Cena bury a former star? Vince McMahon appears in court. Does Vince McMahon hate the current WWE? Rampage Jackson asks for forgiveness for his son. Lex Luger walks again, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Our first story looks at backstage heat on Becky Lynch. Our top story today looks at potential backstage heat on Becky Lynch following a promo on Raw. Lynch's promo from Raw continues to receive mainstream attention, and this escalated when Kelly Osbourne chimed in rather negatively via her Instagram story. And for those unaware, these are the comments in Lynch's promo that referenced the late great musician Ozzy Osbourne. The only thing good to come out of here died a month ago, but in fairness to Ozzy Osbourne, he had a good sense to move to LA, a proper city, because if I lived in Birmingham, I'd die too. But now a report has surfaced related to WWE's response to the controversy. According to Brian Alvarez on the Wrestling Observer Live, WWE are quote-unquote embarrassed by the promo, and they may even look to issue a formal public and private apology. I can tell you, this was not like they called her and they're doing something together. Kelly is not happy. I was told WWE is embarrassed and they're probably going to do an apology. They may not. If you look back at how many times WWE's actually apologized for something, it ain't many. There's discussions about doing a public apology. I know they've talked about doing a private apology. The WWE have been called out a lot recently by mainstream outlets, and they've even received significant backlash by bringing back Brock Lesnar. But it's rather interesting that this scandal is what's led them to issuing an apology. Does this mean that Lynch now has backstage heat? Well, the report certainly implies just that. If WWE are embarrassed by the promo, it suggests that they weren't aware of what Lynch was going to say, and this would mean that the line was completely unscripted. It's unlikely that this impacts Lynch's standing in the company in any capacity, especially with her being a top heel and one of the biggest stars on the entire roster. Obviously, fans continue to defend Becky Lynch on social media, as she is a heel after all, and this is what he'll say to get a reaction from the crowd, but it's understandable if WWE wants to formally apologize to the Osbourne family. Next up, a former WWE star is furious and goes off. A former WWE and AEW star Jack Swagger, aka Jake Hager, appeared on Chris Van Vliet's podcast yesterday, and to say that Swagger's comments are causing controversy would be an understatement. Swagger didn't seem to have anything nice to say about anyone, and one of the names he took aim at was Goldberg. According to the former WWE World Champion, nobody wants to watch Goldberg, and names like Goldberg are taking spots and money away from other talent. You always gotta evolve. Like I said earlier, you gotta be vulnerable. So you're this big tough guy and you can only do that for so long. Nobody wants to watch Goldberg now. He can't run a spot. He sucks. Yeah, I said that, bitch. He can't run a spot. The only thing he could do is an effing spear and get paid $600,000 for it. Then stop pro wrestling. Stop coming in and taking our money. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Whilst Goldberg isn't exactly Kurt Angle in the ring, the idea that Goldberg wrestling is taking a spot away from Swagger is rather hilarious. Swagger came across extremely bitter in the interview, and taking aim at Goldberg for absolutely no reason seemed completely unjustified. Next up, did John Cena bury a former star? Speaking of Jack Swagger, he once again brought up John Cena during the Chris Van Vliet interview. Infamously, Cena refused to put over Swagger back in 2010. WWE initially wanted Swagger to cash in and win the WWE title from Cena, but Cena wasn't exactly the biggest fan of this idea. According to Swagger, Cena absolutely refused to put him over, and he had some rather unflattering remarks when it came to the legendary wrestler. I was told that was what happened, because the original plan was I was going to beat him Monday night on Raw and not do the tease. But I'm a young guy, I've been there for a cup of coffee, so what are you going to do? But I'm not only the guy he's done that to, he did that throughout his career. I was surprised to see what happened with him and Truth lately, because usually he tried to take that glory, but I feel like this time, he's the one who said we better go with Truth and get him back here. And naturally, fans on X today are picking these comments apart. Swagger's world title win in 2010 was always a questionable move, and Swagger is framing it as if Cena refusing to lose to him cost his career, which simply isn't the case. Next up, Tony Khan blasted. Jack Swagger also turned his attention to AEW president Tony Khan and blasted him. According to Swagger, he felt jaded during his contract negotiations with Khan, and during the Chris Van Vliet interview, he decided to go in on Khan like nobody has done before. Anyways, I always find it a way to say this every day, so I think everyone should too. Say F Tony Khan. I could tell he didn't want me there. He offered me like a 1.5 year new deal, and I was like, bro, I just did Stadium Stampede twice. Don't act like Stadium Stampede didn't put AEW on the map. And I was in the debut AEW Dynamite episode. I was the big spoiler, and you offer me 18 months after all that? So it was that, and the way he started running the business, that it really, like, he wasn't a professional. Swagger would then claim that there was a talent meeting in AEW and FTR were refusing to come to television. After all the punk shit that went down, the boys got together and we had a meeting, and this was the boys' only no office. Sting's in there, Big Show, Paul White, Jericho, Bryan, Mox, they were all standing at the front, kind of like talking to us through this shit. Lo and behold, who comes into the room storming in? Daddy's Little Billionaire. And he's like yelling at us because I think it was Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler didn't want to come in. They didn't like the storyline, so they refused to come to TV that day. And he was like, listen, I'll put you in a 6-man 6 minutes before the show, and you're gonna do it. And we're just like, all feeling disrespected. But since Swagger's comments were shared online, both members of the FTR have commented on Swagger's claims. As Dax mentioned on X, Cash and I were at the all-talent only meeting that was called by Bryan, Jericho, and Mox. Tony never interrupted. Cash and I have never refused to show up to work, and I dare to say, if you look at our schedule since Collision started, we're the most consistent talent that make both shows every week. Not really sure where this is all coming from, but it's mostly not true. But Cash even posted screenshots of the messages between him and Jake saying, I apologize if you're upset. I said I think it was you too. Didn't you say it definitely was? But that meeting happened. I know, but to say I think and then actually say our names makes us look like assholes, and it wasn't even us. We're assholes, but we show up for our work. Jake Hager then apologized, saying, I apologize and I shouldn't have said your names, especially when I didn't know for sure. Did that sound like a sincere apology from Swagger, who obviously got the facts wrong? Next up, Vince McMahon appears in court. A former WWE chairman, Vince McMahon, appeared at the State Superior Court in Stamford yesterday, where he applied for the Accelerated Rehabilitation Program. If granted, this could potentially see the charges relating to the driving incident last month completely dropped. McMahon's attorney, Mark Sherman, said that if the program is granted, it would guarantee a complete dismissal of the case, but still allow Vince to convey contrition and concern for the other drivers, which is his top priority. McMahon is now scheduled to appear in court in the middle of October. Next up, a leaked photo from Vince McMahon's birthday. There were reportedly no public photographs allowed at Vince McMahon's 80th birthday party. However, Jerry Lawler didn't get that memo. Lawler, who was in attendance at the party, posted a photo from the event to his Instagram story, and he quickly deleted it, so he was no doubt reprimanded for this. In the photo, Lawler is seen with names such as Drew McIntyre, The Miz and Maurice, Sheamus, and Titus O'Neil. Next up, does Vince McMahon hate current WWE? Now, since Triple H took over WWE Creative, fans have actually wondered what exactly Vince McMahon thinks of the current WWE product. Triple H and TKO have made so many changes to the product that it's virtually unrecognizable compared to McMahon's version of WWE. The show Ross sat via a Fightful Select Q&A discussed McMahon's stance on the current product, and according to the reputable SAP, McMahon would hate the changes made to the WWE product, but he still keeps up with what is occurring on television. I think he hates them. People close to me tell him that he still keeps up with what is going on, but don't really elaborate on it. The reality is that if Vince McMahon wanted any of these changes, he would have made them happen long ago. Vince McMahon's reputation wasn't as much prioritizing money over everything like TKO is doing. Assad would continue by saying that McMahon prioritized what he wanted over everything else. Vince McMahon's reputation was more about prioritizing literally whatever he wanted, which many times came at the expense of his own reputation, finances, and the stockholder interest. He made a lot of great decisions in the 80s, 90s, and even into the 2000s, but the reality is that his inability to adjust cultivated the environment for a solid number 2 in America to emerge. Due to McMahon not taking part in many public interviews, he has for the most part kept quiet when it comes to sharing his opinions publicly on what he thinks of the current product. But with that being said, when McMahon was interviewed by TMZ recently, he was extremely critical of the way WWE presented Hulk Hogan on television back in January. Next up, Rampage Jackson asks for forgiveness for his son. Rampage Jackson has made a new statement related to his son Raja's brutal assault on pro wrestler Psycho Stu. In a video posted on social media, Jackson said that he's not condoning his son's actions, and he hopes one day he can meet Stu to forgive him. I don't condone what my son did. I'm gonna let justice play out. I just wish I could have been there. Hopefully one day I can meet Psycho Stu and shake his hand. I hope he can forgive me as a dad for not understanding everything. The GoFundMe for Stu continues to skyrocket, with Mr. Beast donating $10,000 overnight, making a new goal of $200,000, which could be met in the next couple of days. Next up, Lex Luger walks again. Now, there's some amazing news to share relating to Lex Luger, as DDP Yoga has posted a recent video of Luger walking around his kitchen. Luger has been confined to a wheelchair for a number of years, but thanks to DDP, he's slowly learning to walk once again. Earlier this year, Luger was quite rightly inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, so 2025 looks to be an incredible year for the former world champion, and a surprise appearance at a WWE show. Our final story today takes a look at a surprise appearance at last night's show in Manchester, England. On the show last night, The Miz hosted an open challenge, and it was answered by none other than TNA star Joe Hendry. Hendry received a thunderous pop, and this was a genuine surprise, as this hadn't been spoiled online prior. Hendry has made a number of WWE appearances, and he's even wrestled Randy Orton at WrestleMania this year. It seems like only a matter of time before the former TNA World Champion is WWE bound. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.